Hi, my name's Chris Sterman. I am a chemistry teacher, teaching both college prep and honors chemistry this year, as well as the men's and women's tennis coach and one of the coaches for the school's mathletes team. Um, I was a physics major in college, and I really like the way that chemistry brings physics to life. It gives it an application that is not so like otherworldly and is pretty simple. I like the way that chemistry has an arc to it, and I try and bring to chemistry an everyday feel. So we start the year off. We're going to learn atomic structure. So how are atoms built? What's inside them? What's on the outside? And then establish a set of rules for like how do atoms want to present themselves to the world. And then it becomes like a dating exercise. Why does one atom want to date another atom? Why do they want to hook up and make molecules? What's going on there? So we'll talk about the forces that go into linking atoms together. We'll talk about what you call a substance once atoms join up into groups. How do we name them? What's their formula? We'll talk about why things are solids or liquids or gases. Then we transition into a time of like linking chemistry to your kitchen. How is a chemical reaction similar to you making dinner? Why is heat important to a chemist? Why is heat important to a chef? Sometimes things won't happen unless you add heat. Sometimes heat comes out of what you're doing. Then we'll talk about how chemists count their ingredients. Since we're talking about atoms that are so small that chemists can't even see them, how do they know that they've added the right amount? How do they count things they can't see? And then how is it like a recipe where in a recipe you might add 1 cup of sugar and 1 tablespoon of salt? Like, how do chemists speak to each other when they tell each other how much to add? Once we get to that point, we will also need to be able to separate what we've made from what we don't want, or from leftover ingredients that are still in our container. So hopefully we'll do a coffee unit at that point in the year, where we look at roasting the coffee beans, what chemical reactions are going on there. The beans go from being green to a dark color. You have to extract the chemicals out of the bean. Like, we want the caffeine, we want the colors, the taste, and the smells, but we don't really want the bean and some of the other chemicals that get left behind. How do we separate those two? What techniques do we have? Then we'll transition into another unit on acids and bases, which I center around soda and seltzer water. Like, how do acids taste? If you change the amount of bubbles in a seltzer, how does that change the pH? How does that change the taste of it? What's it mean for a soda to be like dead? What happens to the bubbles? Where do they go? And then if we have time left at the end of the year, we'll actually look at the bubbles and say, hey, gases are weird chemicals. What can we study there with specifically things that are just floating around us? What makes them different? How we can go from there. Now, I teach both college prep and honors, and people will ask me what the difference is. Honestly, the difference is the math. The concepts that we cover are essentially the same. If we get short on time, I might drop something for one of the classes or another, but essentially, the units are the same. In honors, I'll cover the conceptual end a little bit quicker, which frees up time for us to do the math. What math underpins this? What math allows us to quantify what's going on? So in an honors class, we look at this both as a practical and a mathematical lens to it, where in college prep, we basically stick to what are the concepts here? How can we make you chemically literate so that when you go out in the world and as my co-coach in tennis says, if a nurse says she's going to give you a saline solution when you're in the hospital, do you know what saline is? Do you know what chemicals should be in there so that you can go about life as a human interacting with chemicals. If you ever have any questions or concerns, please contact me. My email address and my cell phone number are both in the materials that are linked to a QR code. I've reached out already twice using Talking Points, which is the district's like text app. So please feel free to text me using that. And I hope to get back to you really quickly, unless it's the middle of tennis season, in which case I probably won't get back to you until the evening once I get home. I'm looking forward to a good year with your son or daughter, and I hope we have a lot of fun. Thanks for coming tonight.